All right, welcome back, fight fans. Thank you so much once again for tuning in this week to Pure Fight Radio. I am Brent Cristelli. I'm here with my good friend Manny David. Go ahead and say hi to the young folks, Manny.
Hey, what's going on, guys?
So today we are obviously back to talk some UFC 210. We are slightly late to this, so we do apologize for coming in so late in the week, finally talking about 210. But of course, me and Manny both have busy lives, but here we are. We're back to talk some fights. We're going to break down the UFC 210 main card, what happened throughout the fights, and then we are also going to talk UFC on Fox this weekend, which is, of course, the main event is Demetrious Johnson versus Wilson Reis. So let's go ahead and get right to it. Let's start off with the main event, Daniel Cormier versus Anthony Johnson. Obviously, whoever watched that fight saw that Daniel Cormier defeated Anthony Johnson once again via rear naked choke again, this time in the second round. Manny, what were your main takeaways from this fight?
Anthony Johnson just doesn't like fighting, aggressive, well-rounded fighters.
Yeah.
Point blank, period. Daniel Cormier is also used to facing people who are, believe it or not, much bigger than Anthony Johnson at times. So for him to have his way with them is not a surprise. That being said, Anthony Johnson has all the athletic gifts in the world, but his career has always been marred by something. So there was he's never been completely there as far as everything's been clicking. As far as a streak or anything like that, something's got to give. As impressive as he has looked, there are certain guys who he just hasn't gone up against, and people are like, "What if?" Like John Jones, for example. And then when we see him versus Daniel Cormier, you're like, it's like night and day compared to what he's been doing to Teixeira, Bader, and Manua. And it's unfortunate because, he is so talented as far as his physical gifts. And, as a striker, he's definitely developed. But, he's kind of shot. He retired. Not sure what else to say here. Daniel Cormier is, just a tenacious, in-your-face type of mixed martial artist. Obviously predicated with his Olympic, freestyle wrestling base. So it's he's just really tough to go up against, when you think about that. Has a hell of a double leg, and, Anthony Johnson just isn't as, comfortable on the feet as a result. So what do you think?
Yeah, I was pretty surprised by Anthony Johnson's game plan heading into this fight. I think Daniel Cormier kind of said it best when a wrestler is kind of in a situation where he doesn't know what to do, he goes, no matter how good he is at something else, he goes straight to what he knows best. And I don't know if Anthony Johnson felt the pressure of the moment in the main event once again for the title. I don't know if it was because the rematch with Daniel Cormier, he lost last time, he's trying to make up for it. I don't know if it was because he had already had his mind set on retiring before the fight, so he went in there and just did whatever the hell he wanted to. So obviously everyone who watched this fight saw that Anthony Johnson quickly kind of ditched the striking game for a wrestling approach to Daniel Cormier. That necessarily didn't become his downfall because Cormier was eventually able to put him up against the cage and take Anthony Johnson down. With that being said, Anthony Johnson almost kind of wore himself out in the first round. Mm-hmm. He did land a really good high kick, broke Daniel Cormier's nose, really good high kick, and had a chance to capitalize on it. Unfortunately, like we had stated in the pre-fight, Cormier's chin is something made of granite. So Anthony Johnson wasn't able to put him away. He did not do what we thought he was going to do, and that was be patient, which he wasn't. That was going to be keep the distance, which he didn't do at all. He engaged in the clinch, actually, pushed Cormier up against the cage, and tried to take the fight to Cormier, which is what he needed to do, take the fight to him, but not in that manner.
Yeah, if you're watching someone like, for example, anyone who plays keep away but, boxes up people really well, I don't know, like Cody Garbrandt, for example, I felt like that should have been the game plan. If anything, sure, Daniel Cormier is not trying to strike with you like Dominic Cruz is or anything like that, but he's most effective when he's up close, Daniel Cormier, right? And
right.
You could have used your reach, just jab at him a little bit, or just better technical boxing skills. We would think out of Anthony Johnson would do something like that and just pivot away from, any potential double leg setups. But instead he got reversed, and he was the one engaging in that kind of fight, which is totally fine for Daniel Cormier, of course. Yeah. So it's embarrassing. I wish Anthony Johnson the best, because of course he has retired, as we know. And what's next for Daniel Cormier? John Jones, if he gets off the stuff. And that's pretty much it. Like, the light heavyweight division right now feels incomplete. As good as Cormier has been competing, it's just, I'm really not interested in the division right now. As long as I know there's someone who has bested this guy,
right,
and rather easily, when he wasn't in top form. And I kind of feel that way about another division too. Like we mentioned, middleweight last week. You have a title fight that's happening that is, doesn't involve arguably the 1, 2, 3, or 4 best guys in the division. So
it's not arguably; it doesn't involve any of those guys at all.
Yes, absolutely. So it's really embarrassing. What's kind of been happening, in some divisions in UFC, it's either someone's not in the picture who is normally supposed to be, or there's guys who could be in the picture who are definitely active, and for one reason or another, they're not there because of the super fight era that is
absolutely
UFC. So,
I definitely think the light heavyweight and middleweight division are definitely you can definitely compare them in terms of not having the best guys be at the top, in terms of John Jones at light heavyweight, and at middleweight, of course, we have Michael Bisping, who is at the top, which is, I'm still really shocked at myself when I say that. But the difference is the UFC is kind of dug their own grave for the middleweight division, in terms of promoting and making Michael Bisping versus Dan Henderson, and now Michael Bisping versus GSP. Whether or not Bisping is clamoring for those fights or not, going out of his way for those fights, the UFC is the one putting them together. With light heavyweight, unfortunately, John Jones just can't seem to keep himself out of trouble. So that's the problem with light heavyweight. Plus, you've got the top guys initially or beforehand who were kind of reaching the end of their careers. Of course, guys like Lyoto Machida, who dropped to middleweight, Shogun Rua, who's still hanging in there, Rampage Jackson's done, plenty of other light heavyweights who were at the top and were involved in a really competitive light heavyweight division have now gone away. And the guy who claimed light heavyweight crown back in 2011 hasn't really been active since 2014. He had one fight in 2015 and had one fight in 2016. So he's put himself away. And back to this fight, Anthony Johnson, I was very surprised that he did retire. I'm not going to sit here and want him to come back as much as I would like him to, because I do like watching him fight, especially when he's in top form. If he's not in it, if he doesn't want to do it, props to him. Get out of the sport immediately. And apparently he's got something lined up, and apparently it's got something to do with football. So, hopefully, he's going to enjoy the remainder of his life and enjoy whatever career he goes after, whatever he's doing after fighting. So good looks to him for getting out of fighting as soon as possible without taking an enormous amount of head damage. For Daniel Cormier, like you said, I think John Jones is next, as long as he comes back. Daniel Cormier has kind of turned into the heel recently. A lot of people are hating on Cormier, which he's embracing it, so that's good on him. And he's going to try to sell pay-per-views with it. And he kind of set himself up for 2 fights that night after the Johnson fight against Jimmy Manua and also John Jones. So I think if John Jones comes back and he's all good to go for July, I think that's the fight we'll see next. And if all goes well, if John Jones doesn't have any ring rust like he did against OSP, I think we're going to see kind of the same result as the first fight.
It's arguable that John Jones still beats Daniel Cormier as well, but who knows?
Especially after like about 2.5 years of very much inactivity and just kind of not being in the fight game, and Cormier's kind of stepped it up as of late. So yeah, you're right.
Who knows? It's hard to say.
I think watching that John Jones-Dan Henderson grappling match, I'm really convinced that John Jones is going to win.
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, even without that, like, it's whatever to me, right? Good Lord. But, yeah, honestly, we might as well move on to that middleweight title picture we aforementioned. Gegard Mousasi versus Chris Weidman. Yeah, controversy, of course. Chris Weidman feels like he's robbed. That being said, I was never someone who was an advocate of the hands on the ground as defense against knees to the head rule. I think it's stupid. I think it's crazy. Maybe if you're grounded and you're like lying down and, you know, knees to the ground, knees to the head of a grounded opponent, I think it's not right. But like, if you're on your feet, if your 2 feet are like standing, if you're standing on your 2 feet and you have your hands on the mat, like, no.
Yeah, I agree with that, especially the vast majority of the time people are reaching for the ground so they don't get kneed.
That's insane to me, because this is Ultimate Fighting Championship. This is mixed martial arts. It's a combat sport. And in combat, it just seems that impractical to defend yourself with a quote-unquote a stipulation. So I think even Gegard got him clean anyway.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't know why there's this backlash on Weidman's side. So,
Weidman was complaining because apparently he thought it was an illegal shot, and of course,
no,
he's
I
complaining
get that.
about Yeah, I know you do. I'm just talking about, like, he's complaining about Dan Miragliotta stopping it, and then them stopping the fight in general.
Yeah, because he
didn't know what month it was, and he didn't know what day it was. And I guess from what I heard too, the doctor asked if he could continue to fight, and I think Weidman said no.
Okay,
so
hold
if
on.
that's the case. Weidman's like, no.
Yeah, no, and I understand that. And had Weidman didn't get the fight stopped in the first place because of that, you know, he might have made it to the end of the round and he would have lost by decision or knockout eventually after. Who knows? For the sake of you keep fighting, Dan Miragliotta was looking after him, if anything, right?
I agree.
So what are you going to do? Like, blame him or blame Gegard, who got the clean shot in the first place?
You can't. The only person you can blame, you can blame two things. I guess you can kind of blame the commission because they're new and they don't really know what's going on. And there's so many different things that I've seen about instant replay being used in MMA and UFC. I think in Nevada they used it, in California they used it.
They only used it post everything's done to reverse losses into no contests and stuff like that. Nothing about like on the
reviewing
spot
the strike.
And then getting back to the fight. That doesn't happen. That doesn't happen on some, like, you know, MLB, is it a home run or not kind of.
Right.
And then you keep going, you know.
Right.
Like,
they wait till the fight's over. So the fight was literally called because of instant replay. And if that's the case, that's the commission's fault, because that's apparently not how they're supposed to use it.
Well,
so,
you know, I
guess. But but at the same time, I'm not mad either, because the strike was legal. And if they called it a DQ, you know, I'm sitting over here. If they do call it a DQ, I'm sitting over here, I'm mad at Chris Weidman, because he's purposely putting his hands on the floor and then saying he can't fight, can't continue, because clearly that fight was shifting towards Gegard Mousasi taking over, because that's kind of what I was seeing happening. Chris was doing well at first, landing some takedowns, but he was gassing, and Mousasi was putting it to him on the feet, and Mousasi was able to create scrambles and get back up to his feet. Weidman was having trouble holding him down, and Weidman was getting tired.
Point blank period. If Weidman wants a rematch and it happens, like, you can't pick him. Like, after
I wouldn't pick Weidman at
Mousasi's
all. You're right. Like, I didn't think of it too much going into this fight, because I thought ultimately the Rockhold fight was like back and forth, and Rockhold just got the best of him, and then Yoel Romero just landed that ridiculous flying knee. I didn't think as much as you thought in terms of Weidman kind of heading downhill, but after this fight, I think he's looked really bad in his last.
He's honestly looking for excuses, like from like what I see out of you know, body language and stuff. It's just weird, and of course, you know, with you know, the controversy here, the Yoel Romero fight, I was just like, well, okay, you took an L, one of the nastiest knockouts of 2016. And then you get back in there versus, a true contender, Gegard Mousasi, It's not like you're taking step downs in competitions or anything like that, but you look like a second-class fighter after the first round, in comparison to Gegard Mousasi.
Wholeheartedly, 100%. And I almost think, watching that fight, I'm almost not even convinced that Weidman would have his way as easy as I thought he would against Bisping. I say that because Bisping does have good takedown defense, and if Bisping's able to kind of survive the first couple rounds, Bisping's known for having a good gas tank.
Yeah, without a doubt.
And Weidman's got pretty bad cardio.
Yeah, Weidman's cardio's rubbish. I mean, he doesn't have a lot of guys to help him push up against, like Eddie Gordon and who else? John Vellante. None of them are world class at anything. And you might have a lot of great insight coming from Ray Longo and Matt Serra, and I can't really speculate on that because I never really went to their camps, of course. But from what I see out of who he trains with, and from what I see in his recent fight history, it's night and day. He doesn't look like the same fighter who was a world beater at one point. And that's sad because, he has a great skill set to go up against some of these guys. Decent boxing. His wrestling is really on point. As far as the UFC middleweight division, probably the best wrestler there right now, who's actually wrestling, not counter wrestling like Yoel Romero, but actually wrestling. In comparison to, maybe Chael Sonnen in his prime when he was there. So, I don't know. He could do a lot of damage in that division if he felt like it. And for one reason or another, it's not. I suggest a camp change. I've said this before. It's just insane how they're not even bringing in guys as well to help mimic, Romero or Mousasi. And those are two really weird fighters. I get that, but you got to switch it up. I don't feel like he's properly prepared for each opponent, and I know he's the type of guy to kind of just try to execute Chris Weidman style MMA every time he fights a guy, but it hasn't been working out. I'm just saying. And with the Luke Rockhold fight, I don't think that fight was going back and forth at all. That's just me. I'm a big Luke Rockhold fan. I know that, but even when he lost the third round, it wasn't. I still felt like he felt like the fight was in his hands no matter what, and then he finished it ultimately in round 4. So I feel like Weidman fights from behind the last 3 fights for the most part.
I did think the fight was relatively close until Chris threw that spinning kick. I did think Rockhold was getting the advantage no matter what, but I did think it was competitive up until he threw that kick. And then at that point it was like, my God, man, do you have any type of defense off of your back?
That
Jesus.
And Rockhold's gas tank. I always felt like he was ahead because he didn't appear tired to me whatsoever.
Yeah.
I mean, AKA guys barring Cain Velasquez don't get tired. But yeah, so I don't know what else to say. But Weidman, Frank, man, Weidman could have very well retired after that.
Yeah, God, what a surprise now with everyone retiring.
Especially, how much is he worth after his third loss in a row? Literally.
That's crazy because I mean, going into this fight, both of us really thought that Gegard's takedown offense was going to be a big factor for Chris Weidman, and Weidman couldn't really hold him down. And now Gegard's a free agent. And Chris Weidman, who was one of their most marketable guys at middleweight a couple years, not even 2 years ago, is on a 3-fight losing skid and hasn't looked good at all. Mm-hmm. So I don't even know what they do with Chris. And for Gegard, I don't know if they're going to try to re-sign him or not. And
that's just this guy. I would. Belfort, Hall, Weidman. He's also kind of mouthing off lately. Why am I unmarketable? He's trying to boost his profile. He clearly cares. So that's why I want him to stay in the UFC. He's clearly a threat to their biggest guys. A part of me believes, conspiracy-wise, that the UFC likes either Bisping or GSP at the top for the sake of marketability for whatever reason in their mind. So part of me believes that they actually want Bellator to match their offer or go higher.
Maybe.
Yeah, because they don't want him to go up against those guys. I like UFC is such a sham with the the rankings and stuff. Clearly don't mean anything since Gegard's not going to fight for the title anytime soon. Rockhold's not going to fight for the title anytime soon. Jacare's not. Oh my gosh, the list goes on. So Romero. Oh my gosh.
They're considering, like, I feel like they would legitimately consider Anderson Silva against Bisping before Romero, before Rockhold, or before Jacare right now. I really do.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Just because of the marketability. And, like, it sucks because I want Gegard to stay in the UFC, but I don't know if he's going to. The way Dana White was talking, and of course Dana can say one thing and mean a complete other thing, but it doesn't seem like he wants to pay him very much because he doesn't believe Gegard's not very marketable. Mousasi's probably going to want more money. And Bellator is probably going to give it to him. So if UFC doesn't give him the money, Gegard's gladly going to go to Bellator. And while we won't be able to see him fight the top-notch middleweights at Bellator, I mean, Bellator's, they're
a lot of people have this prize fighter mentality of basically just fighting to keep themselves afloat or to make as much money as possible, knowing that their window of opportunity to make money is very small because it is young man's game to a certain extent. So if someone like Gegard Mousasi doesn't care about fighting the best, which I don't think he should care, literally just go get your paper wherever that is. If it's in UFC, great. If Bellator is going to match that and give you easier fights, I can't blame him for taking that either. So
no, I wouldn't either. Yeah. Also, Jacare is a free agent after this weekend.
Great. Yeah, so the middleweight division's working out conspiracy-wise how I think the UFC wants it to. As sad as that is. Anyway, women's strawweight bout, Cynthia Calvillo beat Pearl Gonzalez. Welterweight bout, Thiago Alves beat Patrick Cote, who also retired. Shout-outs to Patrick Cote, my Canadian brethren. And lightweight bout, Charles Oliveira versus Will Brooks. And Will Brooks taking more L's in the UFC. Charles Oliveira's... he's nuts.
He looks like crap 2 fights in a row, comes back and beats the Bellator lightweight champ.
I mean, Will Brooks ain't anything recently. I mean,
no. But
if there was a fight that could have been free, it could have been this, based on all you have to do is last around versus Charles Oliveira. Like the guy will gas. He's had weight cutting issues even at lightweight. So it's just, to me, I think, Will Brooks, always in shape, seemingly used to always have a game plan. He could have came up with something for Charles Oliveira, but didn't. So, what can you do? Oliveira's exciting as hell. Another fight bonus for him. How many does he have? I'm sure he has tons. Like, okay, I'm gonna look this up. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 9 fight bonuses.
Wow.
He has 9 fight bonuses, and at one point this kid was the youngest fighter in the UFC. Just saying, like, that's good for him.
If he actually wanted to do well and I feel like he has a lot more potential than what he's shown.
I think he has like I love how he smells blood and he gets after it. That being said, slack submission defense sometimes. He
does.
We're talking
absolutely.
We're talking
guillotined him, no problem. So did Lamas.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. Positionally, he's awful, but if he smells something, he gets it. Same with on the feet too, right? He's just in Street Fighter or anything else. Combat sports wise, because I play Street Fighter, that's why I mentioned it. There's what we call a glass cannon, and that's what Charles Oliveira is.
Basically,
lots of offensive potential, lots of ways to blow you up, but man, he has so many holes, it's not even funny. But it's crazy, he's really skilled. But he was performance of the night with Gregor Gillespie, and fight of the night was Shane Burgos versus Charles Rosa. But UFC on Fox, Johnson versus Hayes. We might as well get through this quickly, right? Who do you have at the main event? Flyweight championship of the world. Wilson Hayes, the challenger versus the champion. And the winner, Demetrious Johnson. Who do you have?
We're not even going to go into it. I love Demetrious Johnson. I don't think he gets nearly the credit he deserves. He's defended 9 times now. He's trying to tie Anderson Silva. Obviously, as well as Demetrious Johnson has done, and as amazing as he has been, and as well as he's dominated, I just don't think people hold the merit of him defending 10 times in a row compared to Anderson Silva because of the competition he's faced. With that being said, I think you still have to give so much credit to the guy. I mean, he's held the title since when, like 2010 or something like that, or before. I don't even know how. He's held the title for a very long time. If you want to look that up, that would be awesome. I don't know how long he's defended this title for, but he's going on the 10th title defense against Wilson Hayes.
2011.
2011, yep. So dude's defended it for almost 6 years now, at least probably close to 6 years if it hasn't already been 6 years. And he's good everywhere. He's good on the ground, good on the feet, good in the clinch. He's probably one of the most well-rounded fighters I've ever witnessed in mixed martial arts. I would love to see him after this fight. Cody Garbrandt's been jawing for a fight against him. If Cody Garbrandt beats TJ Dillashaw, that would be a really cool fight to see at 135 or 125. I'd love to see Demetrious get some challengers, some new faces who are a challenge to him. I just don't think Wilson Hayes is a big challenge. I think Demetrious Johnson probably finishes the job in the 2nd or 3rd round.
Yep. I mean, all Demetrious has to do really is don't get taken down, counter punch, and do that for 5 rounds. If not, Wilson Hayes goes down sooner than expected.
Yep.
It's not like Demetrious has a crazy amount of power in his hands. It's not like he has like the quote unquote snap to his punches like someone like John Dodson, for example, when John Dodson's really on. So I can't see a single combination getting the best of Hayes, but if Demetrious is super active hand wise, like he should tee off on Wilson Hayes. And Wilson Hayes is a quality fighter. Of course, if you guys don't know who Wilson Hayes is, he is one of the instructors at Alliance MMA, and that's funny because the first time I've seen Demetrious Johnson ever get manhandled, and the only time he's ever been manhandled was versus Dominic Cruz, who is also of Alliance MMA. So I know Wilson Hayes is not going to mess around as far as training for Demetrious, because like he's trained with someone who can beat him, right? Or
right.
Who has.
There's a small amount of correlation there.
So Wilson Hayes, that being said, is a very different fighter in comparison to Dominic Cruz. Has a different build, a different skill set. Wilson Hayes is very, he's like the short, kind of stocky, get in your face type guy. Hopefully he can, take you down somehow and submit you. Like that's literally his style. He has 0 knockouts in his career. So
and he comes in and knocks out Demetrious Johnson in 2 minutes.
I mean, I wouldn't be shocked. MMA, things happen, but real talk.
They do.
It's not like Wilson Hayes' hands are trash. It's just he should get boxed up. Is pretty much it. So,
100%.
We'll see. I'm gonna say Demetrious by TKO KO in the 2nd round, like you said. I think it's highly possible. A decision I think would be lopsided as hell if Demetrious does not finish him. But I think it's going to be a good finish on him, I would say. So who knows, but I think he gets a jiu-jitsu master. Next up, co-main event, Rose Namajunas versus Michelle Waterson, the karate hottie versus Thug Rose. Who do you have?
Ooh, I like this fight a lot. This is tough.
I got Thug Rose all day, every day.
I do have Thug Rose as well. I think Michelle Waterson's a little small for strawweight. I think she did compete in atomweight earlier in her career, and she's I don't know. She just, even against Paige Van Zandt, like she looked a little small. I mean, like obviously she got the job done super easy and super efficiently against Paige Van Zandt. With that being said,
Van Zandt has a lot of distractions. She has a lot of, like, she's not totally weak at anything, but she's not great at anything. It's easy to expose her.
Absolutely. Yeah. And she's been on Dancing with the Stars. She's about to be on, I think she's going to be on that Chopped show on the Food Network.
More power to her.
Yeah, she's got, I mean, she's what, like 22, 23 years old. She's a very pretty girl. She's got a lot of other things to do other than fight. So, I wouldn't.
I don't want to say that because I feel like we're downplaying her. But
yeah, I mean, she's a good fighter, and like obviously she made her name from the first place with fighting. I just think because of the other opportunities she has been given, and she has talked in interviews before that she's actually, has opportunities to make more money elsewhere other than fighting.
Yep.
So I think she only does this because she does enjoy it. So with Michelle Waterson's win, you can't. It was a good win for sure. I just, Paige isn't the best strawweight in the world. If I were to ever see Paige against Joanna Jędrzejczyk, that would literally be a massacre.
I would just want to see. Like, I don't want to see someone get like hurt for the sake of getting hurt. I just want to see how creative Joanna can get in that bout. I mean, like, it would just be cool.
I understand. Yeah. I get it. Like, she would be a punching bag for her.
It would be like watching like Anderson Silva in his prime versus Forrest Griffin. I'm just saying it would be funny.
Which happened. It was awesome.
Yeah. So that was like our era. But anyway, you have Thug Rose.
I got Thug Rose. I think she'll probably. Michelle's a tough girl. She'll probably take a decision. Thug Rose will, but she's just she's bigger. I just think she has more advantages. I believe she's got a reach advantage as well. Thug is very well rounded, and I just don't think Michelle poses a big threat to Rose anywhere. Honestly, I think Thug gets the decision.
Okay, fair play. I mean, I think versus Thug Rose, you have to essentially expose her somewhere specifically, and of course, Karolina Kowalkiewicz is just the bigger, stronger kickboxer, and Michelle Waterson, while an okay striker, or like technically she's good, it's just she's not like credible. You know what I mean? Like, it's just no one's gonna take her striking that seriously at that division. I don't think she can hurt Thug Rose. Thug Rose can pretty much take it anywhere, and I think is going to be the aggressor. So I'm going to say she wins at least 29-28. So we'll see.
Michelle could steal around, and Michelle's definitely got potential for marketability for the UFC. I think they're starting to realize that, especially with her win over Van Zandt.
Yeah.
She's very, very, very pretty.
Yeah.
Very attractive.
Yeah.
And she's very skilled as well. I just don't think she's big enough to hang with the best strawweights.
Yep, without a doubt. Okay, and moving on, we have Ronaldo Jacare Souza versus Robert Whittaker. Jacare probably going to win this and take off, right?
I really think he's going to. I think he's so sick and tired of not getting a title shot. He's won with like 10 out of his last 12 fights or something like that. Some crazy stat. Let me see. See, he's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9,
9-2 in his last
10.
10.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's 10-1 in his last 11, I think, actually.
Oh, 10-1. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, so, and he hasn't gotten a title shot. And his one loss is a split decision against Yoel Romero.
Good Lord.
I can't believe he hasn't gotten a title shot yet. I think he's going to beat Robert Whittaker. I do like Whittaker. I think he's a scrappy dude. He's got good striking ability. He's a tough guy. He's got a lot of grit to him.
Yeah, he's on six fight winning streak. And he's beat a lot of, 15 to 20 guys who are still with the company, a lot of them. So he's obviously quality, which is insane because this guy used to kill himself in the weight cut. And in middleweight, he's been undefeated. So good for him.
Great.
Yeah.
But that being said, I just think even technically, I think you can make an argument Jacare has an advantage on the feet. I think Robert Whittaker has a power advantage. And
here's the thing. Why I agree with that, like, he doesn't want to have anything to do with Whittaker on the feet. Like, Whittaker's super aggressive, and unless you're a counterpuncher, you don't want to face guys like that. And Jacare's not that.
No, he's going to take it to the ground as soon as possible. But if Whittaker has anything to say about it, he's going to try his very best to stop any of those takedowns. I don't think he'll be very successful with that. I think Jacare is going to have a very good game plan coming in here. And he's been on, like, both of these guys have been on a roll. I think this is a great fight. I don't think as soon as this fight hits the mat, I think Jacare is just going to completely take over, and that's going to be that.
Yep.
I think it's probably a first round submission.
All right, yeah, I'm with you there. I'm going to say second for the sake of spicing it up. And just the last fight we're going to look into right now, main card-wise, Jeremy Stevens versus Renato Moicano. This guy is undefeated.
He is.
And someone like Jeremy Stevens, he's had some impressive wins as of late. Of course, he lost at Frankie Edgar, but he beat Bermudez in really exciting fashion. Lost Max Holloway, which is fine because Max Holloway's kind of the, champion. And Hedin Barao he did beat. So, he's off and on, but
he's beat some good fighters.
He's beat some good. Hedin Barao's crazy. So
yeah, he's competitive against the top competition for sure. And I just don't think this guy has a lot of experience. He seems, I've never seen him fight. From what I've seen, he seems to be a submission grappler. Doesn't have any knockout victories. I don't know how good he is on the feet, but I feel like he will be very susceptible to the Jeremy Stevens knockout.
Yeah, as long as that's standing up, you have to go with Stevens. And
I think Stevens has enough capability to stop takedowns and use his wrestling.
There's more, again, he's another Alliance guy, right? So Alliance is kind of going, they're going all in with this card, but it's crazy because they could very well go 0-2 in the main card. So who knows?
Where's Dominic Cruz when you need him?
Yeah. That being said, as far as the Dominic Cruz win over Johnson, Demetrious is so much better now, right? So
he is.
We're picking him to school Wilson Hayes, but we got Wilson Hayes' teammate and Jeremy Stevens winning via knockout whenever he wants, right?
Yep.
Okay, cool. So I guess that about does it then, guys. For now, the preliminary card doesn't look bad at all. You have some good names on there: Tim Elliott, Bobby Green, Roy Nelson, Alexander Volkov, Bellator veteran right there. But definitely tune into it, which happens in a couple days. Should be a lot of fun, right? You're going to watch it?
Oh yeah, I'll be watching this for sure. It's free on TV. There's no way I won't be watching this sucker.
There you go. All right, guys.
This is one of the better Fox cards the UFC's put together recently too.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm looking forward to it.
That's good to see.
The main card is fire. Let's call a spade a spade. That can very well end in finish.
It could.
Yeah. So
it would be really nice if it did. I hope Demetrious. I hope he stunts. I hope he goes out there and balls out.
He has more than the ability to do so. Yeah, without a doubt. All right, guys. Absolutely. So that was fun. All right, UFC 210. Definitely check it out. And I'm Manny David. You can find me at youtube.com/CascadeSense as well as at the Manny David on all of my social networks. It's Instagram and Twitter. And Brent, where can we find you?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at bcristelli11. You can also find us on Twitter at Pure Fight Radio. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel and like this video as well. Once again, we are Pure Fight Radio on YouTube. Last but not least, you can find a couple highlight videos at youtube.com/BCMVP11, which is my channel. And I keep plugging that, and I will stop doing that until I actually put videos up there.
So. That's when you should plug it, though. Gosh.
I know. I really should. As soon as I put the video, it's going to happen soon. I'm getting used to the new job and everything like that. So as soon as we're all set in there, and as soon as I've got some free time, which I do, I just I've been a lazy asshole recently and just doing this. So, but I appreciate you once again, Manny, for coming on today. I appreciate you doing this with me. Finding the time out of your busy schedule and both of us being able to kind of get together and do this. I'm sure you've got a lot planned for tonight and the rest of the weekend.
Yep.
And once again, thank you guys for tuning in this week to Pure Fight Radio. This will be uploaded as soon as humanly possible. So when you're hearing this, we're recording on a Thursday. So hopefully you hear it tonight. So try to get that out as soon as possible. But thank you once again, Manny, for being on with me. I appreciate it. And thank you guys once again for tuning in this week. We will catch you next week with, once again, some more Pure Fight Radio.
Take care, guys. See ya.